During the test, we found that the state switching of the basketball was not normal. So, let's sort out the state of the basketball first. The basketball is in the idle state at the beginning. After touching the left joystick, it enters the move state. After releasing the joystick, it returns to the idle state. In the idle or move state, touch the shooting button and the basketball enters the throw state. In the throw state, release the shooting button and the basketball will enter the fly state. During the period from touching the shooting button to releasing the shooting button, the power progress bar will continue to grow. The shooting direction and shooting angle can be adjusted in any state. When the speed of the basketball is close to zero after landing, the basketball returns to the idle state. Next, let's check the code according to the state diagram. Open the basketball controller script. Change the initial state of the basketball to idle. Open the basketball state enumeration class and modify the basketball state enumeration. Then the basketball controller script, camera control script, and progress control script will report errors where the basketball state is used. Obviously, this operation is very time-consuming. Here is a SandMod usage tip for everyone. There is a variable modification trick in SandMod. If we modify the value of a variable, we need to modify the reference place synchronously. You can do this, select the variable to be modified. Right-click and select Rename Symbol. Then enter the modified name in the drop-down box that pops up and press Enter. Of course, you can get these tricks through search engines when you need them. Open the joystick controller script. We found that we need to judge the state of the basketball when the remote touch starts. If the basketball controller script is associated with the joystick control script, the coupling degree will increase. If the basketball state is saved in a global singleton, if there are multiple basketballs later, the processing needs to be adjusted. However, this solution is currently the easiest to implement. Let me show you first. First, create a new TypeScript file. Name it GameData, which is used to save global variables such as the basketball status. Double-click to open. Delete unnecessary code. Add basketball state variables. Next, follow the state diagram to check the code and modify it. First, look at the joystick touch and release. In the touch start logic, add a judgment. Because the joystick can only be touched in idle or move state. So, if it is not in idle state or move state, return directly. Otherwise, enter the move state after the touch starts. In the release joystick processing method, add a judgment. Because the joystick can only be touched in idle or move state. So, if it is not in idle state or move state, return directly. Otherwise, enter the idle state after releasing the joystick. Let's look at the shooting logic again. Comment out the joystick controller related associated code in the progress bar control script. Then click the red dot on the progress bar on the right to locate the error code. Select and copy. Press the shortcut key Ctrl+H. Paste in the pop-up dialog box. Replace it with GameData.BallState. For the remaining errors, use the event subscription and publishing mentioned earlier to transform. Publish a shooting event and pass the progress bar fill value as a parameter. In the original basketball controller, you need to add the subscription shooting event and the corresponding unsubscription code. Then change the original throw method to throw process method. Another thing to note is that the state of the basketball has been saved in GameData. Therefore, all this .state in basketball controller needs to be replaced with GameData.BallState. Back to the progress control logic, there is another error. This is actually the logic of updating the score in real time, and we can also modify it. Find the corresponding data in basketball controller. Select it, copy it, and then comment it out. Paste the content you just copied into GameData. Use public static modification. Then select the variable with the error, press Ctrl+H, modify the value to be replaced, and replace the error code. Use the variable in GameData until there is no error in basketball controller. Cut the get methods of the total score and total hit rate in basketball controller to GameData. and add static modification so that these methods can be called directly by the class name from the outside. Finally, modify the error in the onUpdate method in the progress bar control script. In this way, we have achieved the decoupling between the progress bar and the basketball. Let's go back to the basketball state diagram again. Let's look at the logic related to the throw state. When in the idle or move state, the touch can enter the throw state. Therefore, we can copy some of the code written previously in the joystick controller. Paste it into the relevant methods of touch processing in the progress control script. At the same time, switch the state of the basketball to throw. Tracking the shooting logic, it is found that the shooting logic does not need to be modified. There is still a switch from fly to idle state. Tracking the code, it is found that it is processed in the flight processing logic method. However, there is still a small problem here. I believe some students have already discovered it. We recorded a video in advance. Let's take a look first. That is, sometimes the basketball will be retracted when it hits the iron sheet of the basket. Here, let's change the logic slightly. First, modify the layer code. Then modify the layer. Select all ground nodes and set their layer to ground. Confirm that the layer of the base of the basketball stand is also ground. Change the level of the iron sheet connecting the basket and the backboard, and the top crossbeam of the basketball stand to holder. Then delete the previous basketball stand prefab. Remake the basketball stand prefab. After making it, untie the current basketball stand node. Delete another basketball stand. Use the new prefab to generate another basketball stand node. Adjust its coordinates. Adjust its rotation angle. Slightly modify the judgment condition in the flight logic. Change it to collide with the ground before further speed judgment. Some students may ask, what if the basketball falls on the iron sheet of the basket and the backboard and does not fall down? Wouldn't the game be unable to continue in that case? Although this possibility is not great, we have to consider it. Looking at the API of component, you will find that there are two methods when two colliders collide. Among them, the oncollisionist method is called during the collision between the two colliders. Let's try this method. Add the oncollisionist method in basketball controller. If the level that collides with the basketball is holder, and the speed of the basketball is 0 at this time, then change the state of the basketball to idle, and update the shooting percentage at the same time. So we have gone through the entire state of the basketball. Finally, there is one place that is not decoupled. Open the camera controller script. Comment out the configuration of the follow-up object and related code. After the modification, it is found that it is only necessary to send the position of the follow-up object. We can also use event subscription and publishing to transform it. In the basketball control script, when the basketball moves and flies, publish the basketball position change event. In the camera control script, subscribe to the basketball position change event. But after tracking the code and analyzing it, we found that if you want to do this, it will become a situation where events are published in event subscriptions. It is not very reasonable, so we give up this option. Still keep the previous binding. Save, run, and test. It is found that after releasing the joystick, the basketball will return to the free throw line. Find the joystick control logic, track the code, and find that after releasing the joystick, the state of the basketball becomes idle. In the basketball control script, once the basketball state becomes idle, the corresponding method will be called to put the basketball back to the free throw line. So, we only need to comment out this line of code in the joystick control script. In fact, it is equivalent to deleting the transition between move and idle in the state diagram. Save and test. The basketball moves normally. The shot is normal. The strength bar is normal. The score is displayed normally. However, everyone found that no matter where you are, no matter where the basket is, you can only shoot straight ahead. This is obviously unreasonable. We should allow players to adjust the shooting direction and angle. What to do? Let's think about it first.